Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om Swamiji. Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Before we start our program, we pray our humble homage to one of the most dearest sevaks in ashram, Rajan Bhai, who was called by Vinod Papa yesterday evening at about 5:30 or 6 o'clock. The end was sudden. He just collapsed. He was taken to the hospital, where he breathed his last. You might have, those who have been visiting ashram might be knowing that you are doing silent seva, loving seva in publications, along with what other things, like reading, Hanuman Chalisa, so many things. The greatest trait is humbleness, is innocent way of approach, loving approach, and always thinking, that he is one of the fortunate person to be in the ashram. A person who really always enjoyed. So commercial interests are in Kannur. He slowly receded from all those things. So his loving brothers used to ask him to come and stay with him. He used to tell us, this is a paradise, I don't want to leave ashram. And it seems he had also left a note that his body not to be taken anywhere else, but to be cremated in near ashram only. So a very noble soul. Papa did not put him on any type of sufferings. And we hope and pray that the dear departed soul rest in eternal rest and peace at his holy feet. Today, by about 10:30 or 11 o'clock, the cremation took place. We also joined the family, to bear this ordeal bravely. I hope everybody remembers him, is it not?
Yes, Swamiji, we remember.
Yes, Swamiji. Yes,
Swamiji, it is difficult to forget him, Swamiji.
Nobody can forget him.
It is impossible to meet. He was a great man.
Very, very great person. Very noble person. Very noble person.
Always smiling.
Always smiling, correct. Anyway, it's all a part of the show. Though it gives us a shock immediately, we feel very bad of his absence. Slowly we try to get back to our own Papa's line of thinking, that these are all part of the play. When the call comes, you have to just quit the scene. There's a famous quotation of Papa. He always brings in from Shakespeare. That every entrance has got an exit, So all of us have to do that. So this reminds us of the final stage. All of us have to pass through. So before that, we will prepare ourselves and then fill our mind only with him and him only. In whatever way that suits us, in whatever way that he facilitates us. So that is about Rajanbai. Now, yesterday, where were we?
Surrender part. Surrender.
There were 8. Surrender was the last. So first one was aim of life, followed by intense aspiration, then Ramnam, then Guru, then renunciation, then work, seva, and then surrender. Any new thing Papa had touched in anybody's heart on these lines? The first, the aim of life, we try to get a more and more clarity on the word God. He is the indwelling and all-pervading spirit. He is in the form of life force, in the form of
Awareness.
Awareness, intelligence.
Awareness, the form of
Intelligence.
intelligence, etc., etc. So to begin with, we can start with that. And also, he is the prapancha, the creation outside and the substratum for the creation. That means our aim should be not to limit him in holy places and holy persons, but to see this reality, to experience this reality everywhere. That is what, that is the aim of life. He is there, but unknowingly or unwittingly, we have been limiting ourselves. We go to temples, we go to ashrams, we meet Mahatmas, we learn Shastras, and all those things we thought, that is all spiritual. With the result, the all-pervading nature, the indwelling nature, it was not given the importance. So the first chapter gives that. Papa says, even in the marketplace, we should be able to see. And from there, when we move to the aspiration, normally our tendency is to seek praise and happiness in outside world. But no, that both are inside only. God is within us only. So if we have to do that, we have to have intense aspiration. I must realize Him. I must be able to feel His presence. If the keenness should be there, then intensity should be there. For that he says, Ramnam would be. Ramnam is the best. It is the Mahatparam. That means it is the supreme. No other philosophy is needed. It is the key that unlocks the samrajya of peace, bliss, stillness, and whatnot. So this is an again indicator. We have been chanting Ram Nam, but here it is becoming clearer and clearer. We have to use it as a key. Holding the key in our hand, we are chanting. We don't know that this chanting is for that. And then we need a guru for that. So when the guru says God is within, we did not hear that. We looked upon him only. And no doubt he has inspired us. But what he said, we did not give much importance. Not out of disrespect. We have great regard for our guru. But somehow it happened, our the veil of ignorance did not permit us to understand what we said. When Papa kept on telling, when Pujya Mataji kept on telling that God is within, God is within, God is within, we did not understand at all. This is Papa, that is Papa, this is Papa, that is Papa. This is the language Pujya Mataji used. We did not understand them. So then now it is very becoming clearer and clearer. Then we also become clear that the inner guru has come out in the form of outer guru. So when the moment we realize that the outer guru is the expression of our inner guru, then we are safe, we are game. Otherwise the risk is we get attached to the form and we get stagnated. And Papa made it clear that merely serving the body of the guru and serving him will not help us if we don't stretch the same thing to all his creation. So the guru's concept became very, very clear. Then renunciation. We need not get up and go, because we thought, renunciation is something which we cannot at the moment. So Papa made it very simple. What is to be renounced is the me and mine. To a very great extent, we all must have been able to do it. But now we will make it more and more intense. Whenever he makes us to deal with the men and matters, we try to see that the dominance of me and mine gets reduced by thinking more and more about the indwelling and all-pervading reality. And then from there, we move to the work. We are involved in various types of work. So what is it that you remember about work? All are mom.
Perfection.
He makes me do the job.
He makes me to do job, yes, number one. Then?
The inner beauty must reveal itself in the outer conduct.
Inner beauty must reveal itself in outer conduct. If you understand that, everything is clear. That means perfection. We started with perfection, no? It should be perfect in all respects. That means whole-souled involvement. Never in a slipshod, clumsy, half-hearted way. Because every activity is an offering to Him. And from there we move to Seva. Seva, anybody remembers? Even by
True service lies in your not being conscious of having done anything for anybody while we are busily engaged in relieving the pain and sorrows of people around us.
Even when we are involved, that Kartritva Bhava, sense of agency, will not be there. We plunge into it. Spontaneously we get a call from within and we plunge into it. Later on, when somebody pats on our back, probably due to our immaturity, we may acknowledge and we may own it. But now here Papa clearly says, then it doesn't become seva. He also says that any work done to anybody is done to ourselves. There is no otherness. And to cap it all, he takes us to the surrender. Normal course, we may not surrender. We may carry on with our life, We are not bringing any other dimension. But when we get kicks and knocks, when things don't go as we plan, when for no fault of us, some adverse situation arises, then we try to find out the reason. That is how slowly the concept of surrender takes place in us. In Papa's case, we know the severest stressful period he was passing through. So all these things have to be directed towards. There could be another way, You can become distressed. And many people commit suicide. They get frustrated. So here, Papa generally says, try to divert all these so-called labeled negative experiences to him. And then he will slowly accept. Then we come to know that only because of him we exist. Only his will prevails. We are only instruments. He has given us a long rope to feel that it is ours. Nothing wrong. But every now and then we go back and tell him, let us keep it alive. Alive what? Alive of what? Our connection with him. If we keep alive of our connection always with him, it leads to surrender only. We are alive to that fact. We are always, in a subtle way, in the subtle level, we are always aware of this. Probably in the gross way, he may not allow us to do it. That doesn't matter. But at the subtle level, we always feel he is there, he is there, he is there, he is there. And at the outer level, we always see the positive things, positive things, positive things. He had paraded so many things in our life. When we find somebody is leading a comfortable life after a long drawn struggle, we are happy. And nowadays when we see, our generation in wherever we go, they all had a tough time in their early life, very tough time. The present generation cannot even think of what is it. So when we see them, we are very, very, very happy. Why they are happy now? So like that, we always feel in a positive side. That fills our mind. God has been extremely kind. Though He puts them on test, He is now making them to lead a peaceful life. Now the next step is, He should make them aware of that He is behind it, that's all. So that is how the 8 points are covered. Now we will see the next. Any new thought anybody would like to say on these 8? All are in Samadhi. Oh, Choro. Hari-Om.
Swamiji, we have to implement first.
I thought everybody had gone to Samadhi. Surrender means there is no why and whereof. When something happens, why this has happened, we will not question if the surrender is complete. And now, why Papa made us to go through all these things? Because this is the central theme upon which the IQG is woven throughout. 30 to 35, 37 chapters are woven now with this surrender as the main one. So, in order that we get a clear picture, because we are on an in-depth study of IQG, he brought so many things and finally he said, surrender. Okay, anything else?
Swamiji, can I share something?
Sure.
It is today morning's incident. I started a new activity. And when I was doing it, suddenly the thought came, why am I doing this? I should not be doing this. I should be doing Ram Nam. I should be contemplating on God and all that. And again, a deeper thought came, I am doing this because He is willing it. Had I willed it, had I thought of it that I would be doing this activity, never. At this particular moment, I am doing it because Papa wills that I should be doing it. And immediately all my anxieties and hesitation, doubts went away.
Good.
Would this be called a surrender or no?
Surrender in a different way. That's yeah, correct. You are ultimately linking with Papa, no?
Swamiji, really man has no will of his own. There is only one divine will at work everywhere and in all. So much so when Falguni has said, we have to take it in the second sense.
Yeah, correct. It's all different facets of surrender only.
Surrender only.
Actually, Swamiji, it also gave happiness that I could think that. It gave happiness that I could think that way. I could think that way. And Papa gave me that thought.
Yeah. He is always beware. He will put us on test.
Yes, Swamiji.
Just like, we are asking now what strikes you. He said, I made you to hear all the 8 points. And whether it has gone inside, He will put you on test. So, we have to be alert, vigilant. Very much vigilant, Any moment He will put us on test. Even if we don't pass, He will not forsake us. But we should get a pass,
Yes, Swamiji.
We should try to get a pass. Okay, now we will move to the
reason and intuition.
9th. All of you are seeing?
Yes, Swamiji. Yes, Swamiji.
Yes, Swamiji. Yes, Swamiji.
Yes.
Or reason and intuition. A very important point in our life. Every now and then, first we will read it out. Reason is both a help and a hindrance. It helps us to discriminate between the real and the unreal. Yet, it helps only up to a limit. Intuition begins where reason stops. Intuition arises only in one who is fully free from self-centeredness. Intuition is born of a purified heart and an illumined intelligence. It's a spontaneous outflow of divine light. As we all claim to be educated, literates, and we have met Mahatmas, we have read the wisdom teachings of great Mahatmas. So we have got every reason to believe that reason has got a relevance in. Because everywhere, we try to intellectually go through. And we form concepts, we form opinions, views, and mostly we are guided by them. So for a spiritual aspirant, the reason has its own limitation. With reason, we may not be able to find out the fundamental answers for any aspect of spirituality. At best, it can give you some guidance, some direction. It can also create problem. Unnecessary questioning, doubting, always doubting, so many things, We would have reached almost to a great level. Suddenly the doubting Thomas comes and, pulls us up. So here, Papa clearly mentions about it. Reason has got a limit. What is needed is intuition. So our Ramnam chanting and all other practices should help us to cleanse our heart. That means to remove the heart from me and mine. When the me and mine is reduced, the reasoning tendency also will get reduced. Spontaneity will be there. Action will come, answers will come, solutions will come spontaneously. But the only precondition is it should be free from, it can come only when it is free from self-centeredness. Vested interest of any kind should not be there. When we read this, we need not think that it is impossible. No, you and I in our life, we have this. When we are confronted with a problem at home, at the office, or with our friends, we keep on thinking. We don't get the answer. But when we stop thinking and taking a walk, for example, looking at the sky, looking at a tree, looking at the flower, suddenly we find, the answer comes. It need not necessarily be in the way in which the reasoning defined it as an answer, but yet the answer has come. A peculiar, we have observed one person, for no fault of him, his elders gave him stressful period. But this fellow kept quiet. He moved out of that place. For 3 to 4 hours, he was away from that environment. And in the evening he went back. The person who took him into task lovingly asked him, "Have you had your food?" Whole thing changed. He did not react immediately. The reasoning can, if the reasoning is powerful, he will also justify his. But ultimately, you justify your action, the other party justifies their action. And ultimately, the inner conflict gets widened and widened, that's all. You don't get any solution. But here everything gets melted away. When we go to love, we will find that. In love, everything gets dissolved. When we come to love, I will again repeat one incident. How it can dissolve. It is. Everybody thought, there is no meeting point. But one stroke of love, suddenly, we were told, we don't know how far about the authenticity, but we were told this when we were working with the Jain. That when Gomateshwara, his previous name was Bahubali, when he was fighting with his brother Prahlad, and finally he won, and he was on the and he saw Bharadan there with the white flag, surrender. His brother. So many days they have fought. So many people they have lost. Suddenly Bahubali got down. Went to his brother unarmed. He suddenly saw his brother coming. He also got down. He hugged him and told him, "You have won the war. Take the kingdom." He just left. He left to the forest and sat there. He knew this is not what is going to be the permanent one. I want that permanent victory. A victory that comes by winning the mind. A victory that gives me all. A comprehensive victory. Where I am free from the Janma, from the circle of birth and death. So that is how he is revered as Gomateshwara Swami. At that moment, it can come at any time. Spontaneous, selfless. It is not a product of reasoning. It is the intuition. So here he says, intuition begins where reason stops. Intuition arises only in one who is fully free from self-centeredness. Intuition is born of a purified heart and an illumined intelligence. Illumined intelligence means, that only says this is abiding, this is ephemeral. These will all come and go. I don't want this. I want that stays with me forever. That illumined intelligence. So whenever we get anything, we immediately do the sieving, separating. Eternal and ephemeral. We find no eternal, we brush it aside. We find something is eternal and something that we keep it. So every time this has to go on in our mind. Whether this will help me in my journey towards him, or whether it will drag me out from the point. So it's a spontaneous outflow of divine light. It's a very, very important thing for a sadhaka. Very important. For spontaneity. When the IQG started, you remember that word? Anybody remember that word?
Spontaneity born out of the egoless purity.
Spontaneity born out of?
Egoless purity and innocence.
Born in spontaneity, born out of purity and innocence. That is Papa. So we find this intuition working in him throughout the 30, 34, 35 chapters. No planning, no reasoning, That is why he was able to surrender totally to him. Otherwise his reason will come and question, he is wrong, this is not right. Why should he do this? All these questions come because of the reasoning. We find Sadhu Ram bringing out this reasoning. But when Papa is very clear about it, when he has totally insulated himself, it did not touch him even then. Those Sadhu Rams pointed out, his reply will be on the basis of this intuition. So we find, just like when we find surrender, Papa's whole life in I2G, his reasoning and intuition also, we find clear-cut demonstration of in Papa's life as well as in the Sadhu Ram's life. Then it becomes very clear. So when we deal with men and matters, we should be vigilant. Whether our reasoning comes there or spontaneity comes there. Reasoning is necessary to manage others' affairs. Intuition helps us to know him inside. We are not belittling the importance of reasoning. He has given us the reasoning. But we should know where to make use of. Not to know him, but to know his various setup of the creation, the characteristics of his creation, so that it can be made use of for the betterment of humanity. That intelligence, That is why we are sitting before a laptop. We are sitting on a chair. We are using the table. We are in a garden. All these things are because of the intelligence there. So we are not belittling the importance. But the same will not help us in our journey towards him. Is that clear?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yes.
One doubt, after introspection, only reasoning comes and ends intuition. Am I correct?
After?
Introspection. After introspection, it leads to reasoning and ends intuition.
Right. Reason makes us to know of the limitation of the reason. Real reasoning, Papa used to say, sadhana is to know that by sadhana we cannot attain. Reasoning will help us to know that by merely reasoning we cannot reach it. Yes.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om.
I want to share 2 points from Bhagavatam. One is, when Hiranyakashipu used his intelligence to ask for boons which will prevent him from any form in which death approaches, God was granted, but God was super intelligent. He came in such a form and at such a time that he satisfied all the conditions of the boons, yet Hiranyakashipu could not understand what super intelligence means. Hari Om Swami.
Hari Om, Hari Om. So now we move to the next one. Grace. Grace is pouring upon each of us alike. But due to experience, that, we have to open our heart to receive it. When grace comes to us, our heart becomes perfectly pure and we overflow with love for all beings and creatures. We have been told many a time by all Mahatmas and in our case Papa, that grace is pouring on all of us equally. Grace, remembrance, darshan, they are synonyms of the same. So they use the simile of how the sun reflects on an opaque surface, on a translucent surface and a transparent surface. The opaqueness will not reflect the light. Translucent may give us some hazy idea, and transparent gives us the full. So, Papa used to say, grace is like this. If our mind is fully covered with me and mine, where is the space for him? So that means we have made it opaque. Whenever something happens, we pray and we get some help. We feel, no, he has blessed us. Again we forget after that. Again we pray when we are cornered. We get some relief. After the remedy is there, we again forget. So that is the translucent state. And then when the mind gets purified, when it is getting freed from me and mine, slowly we become aware of His grace more and more clearly. So ultimately, the mind has to become pure, me and mine. The first stage, when the mind is full of me and mine, there is no space for God talking. In our case, those who are listening, we can say to a very great extent, we are the translucent or at the beginning of transparent state. So let us try to reduce the me and mine and become aware of His presence as much as possible. We may fail, we may forget, don't worry. We have started seeing it. And that is why we are in a position to chant Ram Nam. We are in a position to revere our gurus. Wherever the Mahatma is seen, we respect them. We attend Satsang like this. We go through scriptures. All these are indications that the mind is getting purer and purer. Because if the me and mine is there, we will be bothering only about the material things. How to acquire more, how to possess more, how to enjoy more. These are all the signs. But God poured His grace on all of us in the form of contentment, in the form of relatively, satisfied with what we have. And we feel He is helping us. We feel He is guiding us, leading us. These are all good signs. So, as far as the grace is concerned, I think those who are hearing, they are all very clear about the grace. We can definitely say we have all passed through that opaqueness. And to a very great extent, translucent state. Now let us make it transparent. That should be the idea. Any other thoughts?
Swamiji, could you please again explain on the transparency? Can you please again explain on the transparency?
Transparency.
Translucent and transparency.
Transparency means, suppose we see a Mahatma, we spontaneously a reverence comes. We see any good act, immediately our mind wells up with joy. We feel whenever any thanksgiving moment comes, suddenly we find God will give us, God will lead us. We will not get perturbed unnecessarily. Whenever we happen to hear about satsangs like this, our priority gets shifted to this. The other one, purely on material level. As I said, how to enjoy more, how to possess more, how to earn more. Every time mind will be on this. Sense of insecurity keeps on pushing you. from this and that and this and that. Because at the material level, we can never find a full stop. Only when in the spiritual level, we can find this full stop. So these are all the signs of transparency. The mind has started receding from the ephemerals. Enough is enough. God has given us this much, more than enough. He used to say, as I was telling you about Rajan Bhai, who was called by Papa yesterday. Always, never, he always was full. He said, Papa has given everything. And he finds joy in doing seva, that's all. Not for name, fame, power, position. He will never assert his position. Everybody knows him, for publication he is in charge. But you can never find him telling that I am in charge. So that much of purity is there, transparency. So we try to bring all these things to define what is transparency. Think about it. You will find the transparency is there in all of us. But it is not stable. It comes and goes. So we have to do something by which the transparency becomes permanent. Can we move to the next?
Yes, Swamiji.
Today all are in either introverted state or in samadhi state, or what should I call it? Nobody is coming out, What is it due to? To surrender. Oh, they have surrendered everything.
It's all yours.
It's not surrender, Swamiji. The mind is not opening up.
Mind is not opening up.
Yes.
It is all your doing, Swamiji.
Okay. Now the most important thing is God realization. The moment we hear about God realization, we think it's on a high pedestal. We are on a lowest pedestal. And it's difficult for us to reach. Big word. So in simple words, Papa has put, it is by ignorance we feel we are separate from God. When this ignorance is removed, we know we are one with the power. And that we have always been so. This is God realization. We are one with the cosmic power. The individual power, you remember in philosophy they say Ghatakasha and Akasha. He put a earthen pot. There is space in it. Because it has got a shape, the individuality is there. It refuses to accept that it is a part of the space outside. So only when the form is broken, it is not merging, it is already there. Whether it is inside the mud pot or outside the mud pot, it has already been there. So my connection with this cosmic power, me as a pot, I feel I am distant, I am separate from the cosmic power. The moment we realize that we are part and parcel of the cosmic power, the cosmic power inside and outside is one and the same, then it is God realization. And we suddenly know that it has been so. Whether we know it or not, whether we recognize it or not, whether we understand it or not, whether we revere it or not, it has been with us. So a very high-sounding word or realization has been put in a very soft manner before. The sense of individuality owes everything to the cosmic reality. The same power which makes our eyes see, all our organs of action perform, the same power is there outside me. I must try to connect myself with it. The moment I connect myself, we have been assured by Mahatmas who have realized that we are part and parcel of it. And it has been so. Papa puts it in a different way that though Ram and Ramdas are one, Ramdas would like to play a part of it, child of Ram. So Ram stands for the cosmic power, mysterious power. Ramdas stands for the individual, sense of individuality. The sense of individuality realizes its oneness with the cosmic reality and then continues to exist in the others, in the eyes of others. But in him, he is existing in that. Is the mind opening up?
What to say, Swamiji?
Slowly opening.
God realization is a very tough point, Swamiji. No?
Is it so?
Yes, of course, Swamiji.
He has made it very easy now.
Easy to hear, Swamiji, but I don't know how to practice it.
Easy to hear, but difficult to realize. Correct. So that means
the other day we were told, Swamiji, we have the key to open up the inner intelligence. So we can open up our mind.
Yes. See, now we have before us two. The cosmic reality engaged in this individuality. So what is engaged in the individuality, we have to connect up with the cosmic reality. How and when? So many methods are there. When we intensely pray, our own method will emerge. So far we have not applied our mind. So the avenues are lying there unopened. But today he is opening up the channel. You have to pursue. As somebody said, by hearing we cannot agree. Experiencing is a tough job, no doubt. But it is not, it is not that it is impossible. If it is impossible, then we don't have to sit and do it. We will forget about it. But they have made it possible. People like us, who paid the price, who did not just come from the sky. They were also born to a mother and father like us. They were also brought up in a society like us. And then they were also subjected to go through many things. But they also realized. They realized that the outer power is in the same that is inside us. So we keep on thinking about it, we keep on contemplating upon it, we keep on connecting all our activities with it. Then by even if it's a snail's speed, doesn't matter. With all that they have given now, it should be possible for us to move forward. Don't write off. It is impossible. With all the other 10 points, clearer to us. Though this is the toughest, he has at least made it easy. When we go to the bazaar, we look at it, we see that we would like to have it, but we have to pay the price.
Swamiji, Hari Om. Kartrutva bhavana has to go now, Swamiji. Then only this will do. Leadership is only making us all the unnecessary. As you said, and even Bhagavan says, Aye Atma Vijaye Ati Sulabham. He says, Bhagavan says, that's clear, because understanding world is difficult. Understanding Atma is, that is only, in that only everything is happening. So, we are going out, we are seeing out, that is the problem. Our doership is only the problem. We are not able to come back. This is the problem. Somewhere we are getting entangled in that and then suffering.
That means uniting the cosmic power with the sense of individuality. If you remember, Vinobaji shared who was the Shuga. Shuga started and he was going to Janaka because his father told him, Janaka is the one who can certify that you have reached the ultimate. So he came there.
He saw sugar all the place.
Swamiji, Dharma says there are two ways to realize him. One, to expand the ego. Develop
and to become nothing. ഒന്നുകിൽ ഞാനാണ് എല്ലാം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എല്ലാം ഞാനൊന്നുമല്ല അങ്ങാണെല്ലാം. ഞാനാണെല്ലാം എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോ നമ്മളൊന്നുമില്ല. Just imagine, sitting from this place we can see only 10 or 15, 20 feet. The objects before us we can only see 10 to 15, 20 feet or 30 feet. But when we go to the terrace, our vision gets widened. More and more objects can be seen. More and more experience we can get. Again, when we go to the hilltop, again it gets widened. And when we see from the aircraft, it gets widened again. And suppose we are in a satellite, it must be like this only. So the first lesson God teaches us is, you try to raise your present level. Otherwise you think only this is there. The more we raise ourselves, we see the multitudinous of creation. And slowly the mind is getting filled with how omnipresent He is. Vyapanam. How He is spread everywhere. So this one method, That is why good old days people went to Himalayas, From the plains, it was difficult for them to raise. So when they went higher and higher up, physically or at the physical level, they were able to see a wider dimension of the Creator's creation. That made them to go within and find out, previously I thought only this much is the world. Now the world is very, very wide. This creation. And so many things we see that. Not in the same order. Different types. So this is one method by which we raise ourselves to the present level. Present level is me and mine. You are everything, I am nothing. The other one is expanding myself. I am able to see from this level. The same I am able to see at the terrace level. The same I am able to see from the mountain level. The same I am able to see from the aircraft level and the satellite level. So He is there inside. I am everything. So So these are two methods.
Swamiji, otherwise the self-surrender is the supreme way for realization of
It is in different words, that's all. Self-surrender means the small self
yes.
Becomes nothing before him.
In the last para, Ramdas firmly believes that all the various creeds, faiths and religions are paths that lead to the same goal. All great teachers of the world are from one God, the first eternal cause of all existence. Whether it be in the Gita, the Bible, or the Quran, or the Zen, Vesta, we find the same note insistently struck. Namely, self-surrender is the supreme way to liberation or salvation.
Yeah. So this self-surrender, you are everything, I am nothing. That is the bhakti.
Yes.
Bhakti. But in the jnana, what also the people like Bhagavan Ramana, they have raised.
Yes.
So he is anything. If anybody goes and asks, he will say, find out who you are.
Yes. Hari-Om.
So remove what you are not, and we become aware of who you are. So it depends upon the one's own taste, temperament, and aptitude.
Yes.
Freedom is there for us.
Yes. Otherwise, Ramdas has put it like that. Hari-Om, Swami.
Hari-Om.
So we have reached the world realization now.
Can I ask a question, Swamiji? Swamiji, will it help in reducing me and mine?
Will
it help to reduce me and mine if I start calling myself by my name, like Falguni is sitting, Falguni is hearing, Falguni is seeing? Will it help in reducing me and mine? Because whenever, even if for a few seconds that thought comes, the entire perspective of looking at things changes, Swamiji.
But it may not last long.
It does not.
You can try that, but it should become the outcome of our experience, It is not a discipline imposed on us by ourselves. Because if it is a discipline imposed on us, it will not stay there. In Papa's case, he was able to remove the I, and then there was no I to say, so he was able to identify Ramdas as separate. In our case, we have identified ourselves with the name, with the body, with the mind, with the intellect for quite a long time. So we can try, but it should be an outcome of our experience. That I am there. Even before the name was given, I was there. Even before the body was given, I was there as a seed in my father's loin. So only after the emergence of this mind came, so I cannot be this. But at the same time, I have an entity called this name. So then you can find out, you stand on your original and then identify the name, body, everything, mind, intellect, equipment. And then you can say, yes, it is Falguni talking, Falguni writing. So it should become the outcome of our experience. We can try this. If we impose certain things, after some time we may not be able to hold on. But we may get some joy. Even if we say, Muktananda is talking, Muktananda is taking coffee, Muktananda is walking. There is a joy in it, no doubt. But only that person will know whether it is an outcome of experience or just a vow, just a discipline imposed. Is that clear?
Yes, Swamiji. Once or twice when it has happened, Falguni felt detachment to that activity. And it was a beautiful experience, Swamiji. I would like to repeat it.
Yeah. It might also help. We don't know. You try.
Immediately there was detachment to that. It was like an object was there and that object was doing something.
If it is an outcome of our sadhana, yes. If it is a discipline imposed, then it will be difficult. That's all.
Yes, Swamiji.
That is the amount of self-surrender, Swamiji.
Correct.
Thank you. Hari Om.
The me and mine paves the way for the ultimate reality and looks at the creation. Looks at the body, mind, intellect.
Body, mind.
And then makes a comment. Okay.
Hari Om, Swami. Hari Om.
So, from Samarpan we moved to reason and intuition. From reason and intuition we moved to grace. From grace we moved to God realization. Is it not?
Yes, Swami.
5 more are there that we will take it up tomorrow. Hari Om. Today it was a little very deep subject. Try to remember. Try to assimilate as much as can. Pray to him to assimilate everything. Wonderful points have been covered today. That will help us in our IQG in-depth study. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Shri Ram. Hari Om.
Namaskaram, Swamiji. Hari Om, Swamiji. Pranam, Swamiji. Swamiji. Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Swamiji.
Namaskaram.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Feeling much better. Not fully all right, but okay.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram.